What Solskjaer can learn from Manchester United 9, Southampton 0, a tactical analysis. For cheap good quality football jerseys, go over to www.jerseyfifa.com, a link will be left in the description, and if you use the code atlantisfootball you'll get 5% off. So before I get into this analysis, just give me 40 seconds to tell you about the OneFootball app. I use this app to keep up to date with the latest football news, and I find it particularly useful during the transfer window as they have a section on the app that has all the latest done deals in the transfer window as well as the circulating rumours. If you go onto the match section, you can find statistics from pretty much any match from any league in the world, which is what I like to do for games I'm not able to watch in full, to give myself a general idea of how the game went, as well as the style of both teams in the match. If you're a fan of this channel, you'll definitely find this app useful and you'll be helping to support the channel directly, so go and click the link in the description below to get the OneFootball app. So going into the game, Solskjaer lined up his side in a 4-2-3-1 with De Gea in goal, Maguire and Lindelof the centre-back partnership, Wan-Bissaka at right back, Shaw at left back, with Fred and McTominay starting as the midfield double pivot. Bruno Fernandes played in front of them, with Rashford starting from the left, Greenwood from the right and Cavani playing as a centre forward. Hasenhüttl set up his side in his usual 4-4-2 shape, with McCarthy in goal, a centre back partnership of Bednarak and Stevens, with Ramsey starting at right back, Bertrand at left back, a midfield double pivot of Jankovic and Ward-Prowse, with Armstrong and Gineppo starting from either flank, and Ings and Adams playing in the front too. Now before the game, I imagine that Ralph Hasenhüttl said something to his side along the lines of just keep things tight in the first 15 minutes, nothing rash, keep calm and don't lose your heads. So about a minute into the game, Alexander Jankovic went full MMA on McTominay for absolutely no reason, which meant that Southampton were now down to 10 men inside 2 minutes, and Southampton usually deploy a narrow 4-4-2 system that becomes a 4-2-2 pressing shape, but now that they were down to 10 men, this system was completely fucked. We see here that Southampton are now being forced to drop into a 4-4-1 shape, and there's very little resistance to stop United progressing the ball into the Southampton half. They simply needed to switch the ball from one centre-back to the other and allow them to carry the ball forward into the space where the second forward would have been in the frontline press had Southampton still had 11 men on the pitch. Usually with 11 men on the field, Southampton's 4-2-2 press in the opposition's defensive third is very organised and compact, and this stops the opposition easily playing out of their defensive third through the centre of the pitch, forcing them out to the fullbacks, from where Southampton can then look to use this as a trigger to assert an aggressive press. You can see my full explanation of Southampton's pressing system in the video that I'll leave linked in the description and in the eye above. However, now a man down, this press wouldn't have been able to stop United moving out of their defensive third and would have left massive amounts of space between the lines for United to exploit. So Hasenhüttl's side instead abandoned any sort of high press, pulled Ings out to the left midfield position and dropped into a deep, compact 4-4-1 shape. This of course would leave space out wide for United, but it was a price that Southampton had to pay in order to stop these half spaces constantly opening up for the likes of Fernandes, Greenwood and Rashford to drop into. Now in this sort of situation, United needed to be looking to stretch the Southampton midfield horizontally as much as possible, and this is exactly what they did, pushing Shaw and Wan-Bissaka forward aggressively down each flank, whilst Rashford would also hold his width on the left side as well. This was done as Southampton's midfield was so narrow that one long pass to switch the play out to the left, and United could easily isolate the right back in a 2v1 situation. Because Southampton had completely abandoned their high press, United now no longer had to work the ball out of their defensive third in the build-up phase and almost instantly could progress the ball into the middle third. This saw their usual 2-4-3-1 possession shape morph into a 2-2-5-1 shape as they would push forward with Wan-Bissaka and Shaw now playing more like wingers and fullbacks. This meant that Greenwood did not need to hold his width on the right due to Wan-Bissaka pushing forward, so he could move in field and essentially play as a second striker alongside Cavani in central positions. Without the counter-attacking threat of two forwards in the Southampton system, United could be more expansive in terms of pushing deeper lying players forward. We saw Maguire shift over to the left a lot more, with McTominay dropping into a wider, deeper position, essentially creating a V-shaped base for United to circulate the ball. United were excellent at keeping Southampton penned back in their own half by constantly circulating possession, and even though they weren't bombarding the Southampton goal in the first 15 minutes, the pressure inevitably paid off. The first goal did come from a wide position. United switched the attack out to Rashford on the left, and due to Shaw's advanced position, Rashford can lay the ball off back to him. Shaw takes a touch and we can see at the far post, Wan-Bissaka has made a run off of the back of the temporary left midfielder Danny Ings, who isn't aware of the run. Shaw's curling cross to the back post is perfect, and Wan-Bissaka knocks the ball into the net to give United the lead. Maybe if Southampton had 11 men on the field and Armstrong was in that left midfield position, he'd be more aware of Wan-Bissaka's movement, having played there a lot more than Ings, and so this chance wouldn't have been created. I thought that United's possession shape was perfect throughout the first half, which enabled them to constantly circulate the ball, dragging Southampton from one side to the other and pushing them back into their defensive third, essentially creating a game of attack versus defence. Out of possession, United were pressing in a 4-2-3-1, but rarely ever had to drop into the shape, as it was easy for them to press Southampton as soon as there was a turnover in the Southampton half to win the ball back. It seemed like Southampton had no formative plan of how to work the ball forward with 10 men, and so United were able to win the ball back and sustain attacks. Now, I'm not going to analyse every goal or even the second half, as by half time it seemed like the game was done. However, there were a few interesting elements that I picked up from this game. So the first was how good United's fullbacks were, in particular Luke Shaw. I have criticised Solskjaer in the past for not pushing his fullbacks high enough up the pitch in the possession phase. However, in this game both were holding these advanced wide positions, which does two things. Firstly, it continuously stretches the narrow Southampton system, and secondly, offers an outlet to move the ball into the final third every time when United's deeper central players get on the ball. Luke Shaw has also improved his offensive output massively this season in terms of his ability to dribble into the final third, his interplay around the box, and his crossing into the box to create chances. This was seen with his assists for the opening goal and for Cavani's header. I may do an individual video looking at Luke Shaw's development and the statistics behind his improvement in another video, so if you'd like to see that, make sure you subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Another interesting thing that I liked from this game was the possession shape in the first half, which I've already talked about, which could be attributed to the fact that with 10 men there was a reduced counter-attacking threat from Southampton. However, I do believe this V shape with McTominay dropping into a wider, deeper position from the right and Maguire shifting over to the left, with Fred retaining a central position, can become a feature of United's 4-2-3-1 system in possession. This is because it would give them a wider base to circulate the ball around a well-organised front two in a 4-4-2 defensive system, and this shape also enables United to switch the play quickly from one side to the other, which is essential for breaking down compact defensive units. In the second half, we also saw Fred move into the left back position with Van der Beek coming into the midfield double pivot. This was an interesting tactical experiment from Solskjaer, as it's the first time we've seen him really use an out and out inverted fullback. What this meant was that United's 2-2-5-1 possession shape in the middle third would see Fred and McTominay still playing as that double pivot, with Van der Beek instead playing more like an advanced central midfielder rather than a deeper lying one. I think this shows that Solskjaer has realised that Van der Beek isn't capable of playing that deeper midfield role in the double pivot in the conventional system, with the double pivot usually holding their positions and circulating the play. This is what I was saying when Van der Beek was first signed, but some people seem to have convinced themselves that Van der Beek is a Pogba replacement to come into that deeper midfield role, when in reality he is more suited to the Fernandes role, playing between the lines of the opposition system due to his one-touch interplay and movement, being a lot better than his incisive or long passing ability from deep, or even his athleticism. I may do a video specifically looking at Van der Beek in the future, so make sure you subscribe for that. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, remember to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and check out some of my other videos linked in the description below, and follow me on my other social media accounts as well for more content.